by the way, it's a good use case for seeing, how well the hype and the marketing can generate, interest in something when there's nothing there in terms of value. And I think in many cases, we showed that with the metaverse, hype that was around. And it went nowhere. And you don't see metaverse practices these days. No one's talking about it these days. And the rise of AI just completely, blew it away. Well, that's a concern when we're convinced enterprises to move in that direction and to make investments in that direction. Many enterprises did and ended up not paying out. So in other words, a risk, it was a failure. If anything, it's a good evolution, but we were making too big of a deal of it, just like we were making too big of a deal of the metaverse and too big a deal of blockchain. Now, I wasn't one of them doing that, but we're seeing other instances of that are occurring these days. I think agentic AI is going to follow, kind of that framework. Again, it doesn't mean it doesn't have value. Agentic AI, and I've been doing agentic AI-based systems for a long time, is a good architectural deployment pattern that you're able to leverage when it's needed, but it's not necessarily going to be needed each and every time. This is all applicable. And I think people in many cases are overusing it, and we may see a bit of a hangover from that. Probably in 2026 and 2027, when it'll come out that the promises of agentic AI, never really delivered. And it wasn't the promises around the use of agentic AI. It wasn't the architecture to blame. It was the fact of the matter is that architecture was misapplied by people. In many cases, the big consulting companies out there. And of course, they got their marching orders from their marketing teams to go off and message something, to sell something, create forums and frameworks and white papers and surveys, to promote the technology like you're seeing these days. When it turned out, it certainly has a use, but it's not going to be a use the way in which they're defining it now.